Good evening, everyone. Got a unit here that won't shift, got towed in. We got the F coming on there for fault for the transmission, and they're gonna hook up to see what codes we have. This is in a International Prostar, so we'll see what kind of trouble we got here. So we're opening up Service Ranger 4 and you're gonna go from there. So we got a whole bunch of codes here. Got the top one, code 71, active, but we have these other ones inactive that have been active not too long ago. You can see that low battery voltage of the TECU was active 40 minutes ago, and we see a couple of these other codes: ABS can, power supply to the TCU, 32 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago, and then of course rail select motor, gear select motor issues. The one's half an hour, like 28 minutes. The other's an hour and 28 minutes. So we got a whole bunch of codes here. Mechanical system out of adjustment, that was an hour and a half ago. So there's quite a few issues here that we're looking at. Main concern I think would be checking our TCU voltage, make sure that's on point, and then also inspecting the clutch and the ECA. There's a cover that we're going to remove for the bell housing, just because of multiple issues here. I'm going to say mainly looks like it's related to low battery voltage, so check the cables, connections, and then ultimately check the battery voltage to the transmission controller. But that code 71 there as well, I'm just going to click on that. It's 32 counts, high counts, and we'll check to see what that's all about. So alright, first thing here is, we'll just open up this code. Unable to disengage gear. Now saying failure to the TCU, gear, rail, motors. We're gonna go ahead and just inspect the battery connections and all that, because it could all be related. And it looks like they were just replaced the XY shifter on this unit. See if we could have a peek. You can kind of see it through there, and it looks pretty new. So they must have just replaced that. I don't know if they had it done at another shop and then they're having all these other issues, and now they brought it here because it got towed in. So yeah, I'm gonna check these batteries, check our voltage issues first, and go from there. The voltage on all the batteries are good. We're getting a solid 12 volts. I try to start the unit and it won't even crank. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna check all my power grounds, ignition, and data link at the TCM to see what we're getting there. But yeah, I can't even get the unit to crank. Okay, so I'm on the driver's side, left side of the transmission. There's the TCM. It's gonna be this front connector right there. There's one in the back, but that's for the transmission harness. The front one's for the chassis harness. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. It's a 4mm Allen head bolt holding that in there. So I'll disconnect that, and then I'll try to bring the harness down here so I can run some voltage tests on it. Okay, got my connector down. So pins 36 and 38, which are these two outer pins here, are going to be a power and ground to your TCM. So I got my leads hooked up there. As you can see, I'm getting good voltage, 12.36, but when I load it up, put it under load, I'm dropping 1.3 volts. Now the diagnostic manual on this transmission says that if you're dropping like less than 1.7 volts, it's good, but the experience that I've had in this trade is 1.3 volt drop is way too much. So I'm going to still do a wiggle test on this harness, see if I can get any fluctuations from my meter, and I'm still pretty confident that it's a wiring issue. So I'm going to go ahead and start checking out this harness, checking all this out. I'm thinking a half a volt drop is good, but 1.3 to me is too much. So I'm going to check this harness out. Okay, so this one's actually a pretty crazy one. I've been on it for probably about an hour and a half now, wiggling harnesses, isolating, separating circuits, and I found it looks like when I move this area around here, I'm getting fluctuations on my meter. Like even now, we got 11.3 volts, and that's loaded up with the light. Same 11.3, but when I move this section of the harness, it's bouncing all over. So I'm gonna pull this box off and check that, open up that harness and see what we got going on there. Okay, so here's what I found. Took this all off. This fuse holder was actually hiding right up in there, so I couldn't even see it. I could only see this one and this one, but this one was hiding. And this is the fuse for the PCM. So when I removed it, look at the end there. See that? It's all worn out. So I pulled it out. Of course, we got 0 volts. And when I put it back in, facing the other way, we got our full 12 volts there. And no matter if I wiggle it, shake it, we're still maintaining that 12 volts. So the issue for this problem was this worn out fuse. So what I'm going to do, I'm not sure what the condition of these pins are. I'm going to replace these pins, replace this fuse, and that was the problem giving this truck the issues of not shifting. And yeah, so all their low voltage codes were because of here. So good find. I'm gonna get that all fixed up, clear codes, and then see if this thing starts. This is the reason why sometimes you can't trust the diagnostic manuals. Just gotta go off of kind of your own intuition, because issues like this. Imagine if I would have accepted that voltage drop of 1 volt and went on to something else. Well, now you would be in replacing modules or component territory that does not need to be replaced. Just like the XY shifter on this thing was replaced, and it looks like even the electronic clutch actuator was replaced as well. So trust your meter, trust your instinct, trust your voltage drops. Yeah, this was a good find.